This is the video for 8.3, and we are going to be using the distributive property to multiply two binomials together. So what am I doing here? Basically, what I'm doing is I'm taking each of these terms and I'm multiplying them with each of these terms. So the concept here is fairly easy. You just want to learn how to keep track of what you're doing. So this is what I suggest you do. Use colors if needed and start by circling out the first term. So my first term here is 2x. So I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to multiply it with the first term over here in the second binomial, and then I'm going to take the 2x and I'm going to multiply it with the second term in this second binomial. So in other words, I'm taking 2x times 3x, which is 6x squared, and then I'm taking 2x times negative 7, which is negative 14x. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the next term in this first binomial. I'm going to take this positive 4 and I'm going to multiply it with 3x, and then I'm going to multiply it with negative 7. And when I do so, I get 12x minus 28. So really, the skill comes in just knowing how to keep track of what you're doing, because very easily you can forget where you left off and you can lose track of what you're doing and you can lose your place in your work. So make sure to circle out your terms, draw arrows, and then in the final answer, cross off the terms after you combine them. Again, so you don't miss something and so you don't lose track of what you're doing. So this is your final answer. So now let's look at this next one. It's the same thing. I just want to show you another example. And some people use the word FOIL. So if you ever hear someone say FOIL it out, this is what they're doing. Because some people think of it this way, and they say you multiply the first terms together, then you multiply the outer terms together, then you multiply the inner terms together, and finally you multiply the last terms together. FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. And then again, always combine your like terms at the end, and this is the final answer. So go ahead and hit pause and FOIL these three on your own problems. And here are the three answers. Example number 2, the concept is the exact same. You're taking each one of these terms and you are multiplying them with each one of these terms. Now, I find it easier if you rewrite the problem and you put the binomial before the trinomial. So here you see I'm multiplying a trinomial with a binomial. And again, I find it easier if you put the binomial first and then the trinomial, if you rewrite the problem, but you certainly don't have to. So what am I doing here? I'm taking the first term of the binomial and I'm distributing it to each term in the trinomial, and I'm multiplying them together. And then I do the same thing with the negative 7, and I take this negative 7 and I multiply it with 3x squared, and then I multiply it with x, and then finally I multiply it with negative 5. And then what do I do at the end? I combine like terms. And again, cross off the terms as you go. As you combine them, cross them off so you don't lose track of what you're doing. I have a 6x to the third, which I cannot combine with anything. And then I'm going to combine this 2x squared with negative 21x squared, and I get negative 19x squared. Then I combine negative 10x with negative 7x, and then finally I just bring down the 35, and there's my final answer. So go ahead and practice and multiply this trinomial with this binomial. And here's your answer. And make sure your answer is always in standard form at the end.